Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. We're going deep today
Yeah, it's very
into the
good.
history of Pink
Pink
Floyd,
Floyd, yeah.
but not the kind of, greatest hits
Yeah.
album version of their story. We're going a bit deeper,
Much deeper.
using Nick Mason's autobiography, Inside Out, a personal history of Pink Floyd.
Yeah, and it's a really good read.
It really is. It's not a dry,
Not a textbook.
history book.
No.
He's funny. He's got,
He's very witty,
yeah,
self-deprecating, even.
very British humor.
Yeah, very British humor, yeah.
And it's just packed with
Anecdotes. Great story
Yeah.
that you just wouldn't get
Yeah.
anywhere else.
So, and what's interesting is he is the only member of Pink Floyd who played on every single
Everyone.
album.
Yeah,
So he was there, from the beginning to the very end.
the whole journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go back to that beginning. 1963. They come together as a group of architecture students.
Yeah.
Now, you wouldn't think
You would think so.
that blueprints and bricks have much to do with.
Psychedelic rock, no.
Right.
But it turns out that that background
Yeah.
really informed their approach later on, especially with the staging,
Yeah.
the visuals, and, thinking about space, light, and
Right.
how to use those things to create an experience.
They were multimedia artists from the start.
Absolutely, yeah.
Before they were filling stadiums, though, they were a bunch of kids
Yeah.
jamming out.
Influenced by Bo Diddley,
Right.
the Rolling Stones, R&B.
They started off as kind of a traditional jazz band,
They did, yeah.
but those R&B and blues influences.
Creeping in, yeah.
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 And finding their own sound. Now, even back then,
Yeah.
Nick talks about how Roger Waters had a personality
personality.
that hinted at him kind of taking the lead later on.
Very strong opinions, yeah.
Right. Speaking of strong opinions, their transition from jazz to psychedelic rock
Yeah.
wasn't their only unconventional move.
Oh, tell me about it.
Nick actually avoided playing cricket at school by lending the games master his canoe.
Classic Nick Mason.
Yeah.
Resourceful,
Yeah.
bit mischievous.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Now things really take a turn.
Yes, they do.
In 1964, when Syd Barrett joins the band.
That's when they really embrace the psychedelic,
Yeah.
the movement, incorporating the light shows and extended jams.
They become regulars at the UFO Club,
UFO Club.
which was kind of the heart of the London
It was, yeah.
underground scene.
Yeah, it was a real melting pot of artists and poets and musicians,
Yes.
smoky basements,
Right.
That kind of thing.
A real countercultural revolution happening at the time.
Absolutely.
And there's this great anecdote about Sid printing I Believe to My Soul on his guitar using Letraset,
Letraset.
which was like a specialized design tool.
It wasn't something you just picked up,
Yeah.
down at the shops.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it kind of foreshadows their later obsession with the visuals.
Yeah, with the artwork and the covers, yeah.
64 was a big year for them, not only their first recording session.
Yeah, pig ear.
They also dabble in filmmaking,
They do.
making a visual accompaniment to their instrumental Interstellar Overdrive,
It's a great track.
filmed at the seaside,
It is, yeah. At the seaside.
which is such a weird juxtaposition
I
of
see.
like the normal and the surreal.
Yeah, and that becomes a bit of a
Right.
theme for them, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and Interstellar Overdrive is such a classic early.
It is. It's almost hypnotic.
It is. It sucks you in.
Yeah.
Now they capture the attention of Peter Jenner, who was this kind of offbeat manager
Yeah, very unconventional.
who connected them with the London Free School.
Yeah, which is a really interesting organization.
And they kind of solidified their reputation as these...
As psychedelic darlings.
Yeah.
That's what they were known as.
Now, 66,
Yeah.
they're playing at the Roundhouse for the launch party of the International Times.
Yeah, big gig.
Now, this was a radical underground
It was, yeah.
newspaper.
Yeah, symbol of the counterculture.
Absolutely.
And this gig cemented their connection, too.
It did, yeah. It was a key moment for
Yeah.
them.
And amidst all this excitement, they signed to EMI, which is a major label,
EMI, yeah.
and they record their first single, Arnold Lane.
Catchy tune.
Now, here's where they first brush with controversy.
A little bit of controversy.
The BBC banned the song.
They did? Because of the lyrics.
Yeah, because the lyrics are about a transvestite
That's right.
who's stealing women's clothing.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
It seems a bit tame now, doesn't it?
I know.
But back then, it was pretty outrageous.
But in a way, it helped them. It gave them notoriety.
Oh, absolutely. Any publicity is good publicity, as they say.
Now, behind the scenes, though,
Yeah.
things are starting to kind of,
Unravel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Syd Barrett, their creative genius, is struggling.
Yeah. His behavior became more erratic.
Yeah.
The songwriting took a darker turn.
His mental health was deteriorating.
Yeah, it was a sad time. And it reached a point where they realized they couldn't continue with Sid.
They couldn't, no.
So in 68, they make this really difficult decision to replace him with David Gilmour,
Difficult decision.
who was a friend of the band
Yeah, good friend.
and an amazing guitarist.
Yeah, a brilliant musician.
So this marks the beginning of a new chapter.
It does.
They're losing their original frontman.
Yeah, the architect of their sound.
Yeah. But they're gaining a musical partner who's going to help them,
Shape the future.
shape their future
Yeah.
in really profound ways.
Absolutely.
So it's a bittersweet moment.
Bittersweet, yeah. It's that classic kind of
Yeah.
creative tension, isn't it?
Right.
You've got this band on the verge of stardom,
Yeah.
but they're also dealing with this loss.
Yeah.
And so Sid's departure, it creates a void, but it also opens up this space
Yeah.
for David to come in with his own
Yeah.
musicality and ideas.
Right. And this is where you really see them kind of pushing the boundaries of their sound.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. They're incorporating more complex arrangements, longer instrumental sections.
Yeah, there's a real emphasis on sonic texture.
Right.
And you can really hear that shift
Yeah.
from psychedelic rock
Yeah.
into something, well, grander, more progressive.
And it's not just the music. They start taking on these ambitious projects like scoring films.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They did the soundtrack for More
More, yeah.
and La Vallée, which is also known as Obscured by Clouds.
That's right.
And these film scores allowed them to experiment with different moods.
Yeah, almost like painting with sound,
Right. It was a departure.
It was a departure from the kind of traditional song structures they'd been working with.
Right.
And you gave them a chance to, well, flex their muscles a bit.
Yeah. And get this. Nick reveals in his book that they almost collaborated with Rudolf Nureyev
Away.
and Roman Polanski on a ballet
A ballet.
based on Proust's remembrance of things past.
Wow.
Can you imagine
That would have been something else.
Pink Floyd composing for a ballet?
Yeah, it shows just how
Yeah.
ambitious they were.
Yeah, their creative ambitions really had no limits.
No limits. No.
It seems like they were constantly challenging themselves
They were
creatively, technically.
pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
all the time.
But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Their first U.S. tour
Oh, yeah.
was a bit of a, shall we say,
A learning experience.
a learning experience.
You could say that.
Touring in the late 60s,
It was a different beast back then.
It was...
The equipment was less reliable.
Right.
The logistics were a nightmare.
Right.
Nick talks about those tours
Yeah.
with a real mix of
Yeah.
humor and exhaustion.
Right.
Like dealing with everything,
Right. Everything from dodgy sound systems to cultural clashes.
You name it.
They were sharing bills with Janis Joplin
Wow.
and Jimi Hendrix.
What a lineup.
Can you imagine the energy
The energy must have been incredible.
at those shows?
Yeah. But it was also a very demanding lifestyle.
Yeah, I can imagine.
For a band
Right.
that was still finding its feet,
Yeah.
they were constantly on the move,
Right.
dealing with the pressures of performing,
Yeah.
trying to stay sane.
Right. Amidst the chaos.
Amidst the chaos, yeah.
And through it all, their stage show
Yeah.
started to evolve into something truly spectacular.
Oh, it did.
This is where we get that iconic circular screen.
A circular screen, yeah.
What was the thinking behind that, do you think?
Well, I think it was a stroke of genius, really.
Yeah.
It allowed them to project these images
Yeah.
and films that really complemented the music.
Right.
It created this immersive experience
Right.
that really enveloped the audience.
It was a huge leap forward in
Right.
terms of stage production.
Yeah, it became a real signature
Right.
at their shows.
It's amazing how they managed to blend the music and visuals so seamlessly.
Yeah. It was more than just a concert,
Right.
It was a theatrical performance.
And they kept pushing the envelope, incorporating the lasers, pyrotechnics, the giant inflatables.
Oh, yeah. They wanted to create a real spectacle, an
Right.
experience that went beyond just listening to the music.
They were pioneers of the large-scale rock concert.
Absolutely.
But as they were ascending to these new heights,
Yeah.
tensions were brewing
Oh.
within the band.
Yeah, success can do that, can it?
Yeah.
It can amplify those existing cracks.
Right, and that's what happened with Pink Floyd.
It's as their fame grew,
Yeah.
so did Roger Waters' influence.
Right.
And his songwriting
Yeah.
became more dominant.
Right, and the band's creative dynamic
Yeah, it shifted.
shifted.
Yeah.
It's a common story, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The struggle for creative control,
Right.
the clash of egos.
But somehow, amidst all this
Yeah.
internal drama,
Internal drama.
they create Dark Side of the Moon,
Dark Side of the Moon.
one of the most groundbreaking albums of all time.
It's a masterpiece.
It is. It's a concept album that deals with these themes of time,
Madness.
madness, and societal pressures.
Yeah, it's all wrapped up in
Yeah.
this incredible sonic tapestry.
It's mind-blowing to think that it spent over 740 weeks on the Billboard charts.
740 weeks. That's amazing.
And their use of studio technology was revolutionary.
Oh, it was groundbreaking.
They're experimenting with multi-tracking, tape loops, all sorts of innovative sound effects.
Yeah, they were really pushing the boundaries
Yeah.
of what was possible in the studio.
Right, they were using the studio as an instrument
Absolutely.
in itself.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon is as much about the production
Okay.
as it is about the songwriting.
Yeah.
It's a landmark album
A landmark album. Yeah.
that redefined what a rock album could be.
Absolutely.
And speaking of landmarks, they were recording at Abbey Road Studios
Abbey Road.
while the Beatles were working in another studio.
Wow.
Can you imagine the creative energy
The creative energy must have been palpable.
flowing through those hallways?
Yeah, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be making music.
And making music.
They were at the epicenter
Yeah.
of a cultural revolution.
Absolutely.
But even as they were experiencing this incredible success, their internal struggles continued.
Yeah, those tensions didn't go away.
Right. Nick's book really sheds light on those tensions.
It does, yeah.
Revealing how the pressure of fame
Yeah.
and the creative differences were starting to take their toll.
Yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows,
No.
even when you're at the top of your game.
No, but they managed to channel those challenges into another ambitious project.
They did.
Live at Pompeii.
Live at Pompeii, yeah.
It's a stunning film.
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
visually stunning.
It captures the band performing in the ruins of an ancient Roman amphitheater
No audience, just them.
with no audience present.
Yeah, it's eerie, isn't it?
It's eerie.
It's evocative.
Yeah.
And it really showcases
Yeah.
their musical prowess.
It's almost like they're playing for the ghosts of history.
Yeah, it's a really powerful image.
And there's this funny anecdote in the book about them almost having to apologize for using the name The Dark Side of the Moon.
Can you believe that?
Because another band with a similar name already existed.
Another band had that name.
Imagine having to rename one of
about.
the most iconic albums of all time
It would be unthinkable.
because of a naming clash.
Yeah, talk about bad luck.
How about bad luck?
But they persevered,
They did.
and the success continued.
Right, but those internal tensions
Yeah, there's tension.
didn't just magically disappear.
No, they didn't.
And as we move into kind of
The later years.
the later years of Pink Floyd,
The later years.
those tensions reach a breaking point.
They do.
With the creation of The Wall.
The Wall, yeah. Another ambitious project.
It's another ambitious concept album.
Yeah, and a very personal work. Really.
All right, very personal.
Driven by Roger Waters' vision.
Right.
Very much so.
It's a powerful exploration of isolation, alienation, those societal pressures.
It's a bleak album.
Yeah, it's bleak.
But it's brilliant.
But brilliant, yeah.
And it really reflects those anxieties
Yeah.
of the late 70s.
And the stage show was a monumental undertaking.
Oh, was, yeah.
They built a giant wall on stage,
A giant wall.
which was gradually constructed
Yeah, brick by brick.
throughout the performance,
Yeah.
symbolizing that descent into isolation.
Yeah, it was very powerful imagery.
It
That's what I
was.
do.
It's a theatrical masterpiece,
It is, yeah.
but it also highlighted that growing divide
It did, yeah.
within the band.
Yeah, that's a key takeaway from this period, isn't it?
Yeah,
The creation of the wall, a creative triumph.
yeah.
But it also marks a turning point
Right,
for the band.
Yeah, the recording process was fraught with tension,
It was.
and Roger Waters' dominance
Yeah.
became even more pronounced.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the themes
Yeah.
of isolation and division that they were exploring in the music
Yeah.
were bleeding into
Yeah,
their real lives.
Absolutely.
And eventually, those divisions became too great to overcome.
Agreed.
And in 1985, Roger Waters, frustrated with the creative direction and the internal dynamics, makes
Yeah.
the decision to leave
The big decision?
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, it was a seismic event, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it was for the band and for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, Roger's departure
Yeah.
left this huge question mark, didn't it?
Right.
Could they even exist without him?
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was the end,
A lot of people did.
but David and Nick
Yeah.
decided to prove them wrong.
They did. They could have easily walked away.
Yeah.
But they felt this responsibility,
Yeah.
to the music, to the fans.
Right.
And in a way, it's almost like they were defying the wall.
Yeah.
breaking free from those creative differences
Yeah.
and past conflicts to
Yeah.
forge a new path.
And that path led to A Momentary Lapse of Reason, which was their first album without Roger.
First album without Roger, yeah.
Released in 1987.
It was a bold statement, wasn't it?
It was a declaration that Pink Floyd was still a vital creative force.
Absolutely.
And they didn't shy away from the challenge. A Momentary Lapse of Reason
Yes.
is this complex, layered album with a more atmospheric and spacious sound.
Yeah, they embrace the new technology and production techniques, but they also retain that, that Pink Floyd sound.
That signature sound.
Yeah.
And they went on a massive world tour.
Yeah, huge tour.
Incorporating even more elaborate stage production than
ever before.
Proving that they could still deliver those epic live experiences.
They could?
Now, it wasn't without its critics.
No.
Some people felt that Pink Floyd without Roger wasn't really Pink Floyd.
Yeah, you're always going to get that, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
When there's a lineup change. But the album was commercially successful.
Yeah.
The tour is a huge success.
Yeah.
And they demonstrated that they could connect with audiences.
Yeah, they faced the criticism head on.
They did.
And they let the music speak for itself.
That's the best way, isn't it?
And then in 2005, something truly remarkable happened.
Oh, yeah.
They reunited with Roger.
They did.
For a one-off performance at Live 8.
Live 8.
It was a moment that transcended music, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You had these 4 musicians who had been through so much, both personally and professionally, coming together for a cause greater than themselves.
It really was a testament to the power of music. To heal old wounds and bring people together.
It was a special moment.
I got chills watching that performance.
I could imagine.
It was more than just nostalgia.
It was.
It felt like a true reconciliation.
Yeah.
A recognition of their shared history and the enduring legacy of this band.
And I think it highlighted something really crucial about Pink Floyd.
What's that?
Despite the conflicts, the breakups, the legal battles, there was always this underlying respect and admiration between them.
Right.
They recognized that they had created something truly special together.
Yeah.
Something that had touched the lives of millions around the world.
It's a powerful reminder that even amidst, creative differences and personal struggles, great art can emerge.
It can.
And that shared passion for music ultimately brought them back together.
It did.
Even if just for that one magical night.
One magical night.
Now, Nick Mason's journey didn't end there.
It didn't.
He's continued to be involved in music, collaborating with other artists, reforming a version of Pink Floyd to play their early material, and even curating the Pink Floyd exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum.
That's right.
He's also a respected author, sharing his insights and experiences inside out.
Yeah, which is a fantastic read.
It's a treasure trove, really. It has anecdotes and behind-the-scenes stories.
Yeah, it's more than just a band memoir, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a real cultural document of an era defined by change, experimentation, and this relentless pursuit of, artistic expression.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Pink Floyd's history, it's clear that their music really reflected the times they were living in. From that psychedelic experimentation of the 60s to the kind of social commentary of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their music became a soundtrack for a generation, really grappling with these big questions. About identity, about society, about the meaning of it all.
Yeah, they tapped into something universal, didn't they?
They did.
Something that transcended genres and cultural boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's why their music continues to resonate with listeners today.
So if you could ask Nick Mason just one question about Pink Floyd's incredible journey, what would it be?
Yeah. What's that burning question?
Keep that question in mind the next time you listen to Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
It might just unlock a whole new layer of meaning in their music.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep questioning.
And keep the music playing.
Keep the music playing.